Part 51. My villain wants to clear his name, but he awakens CAO Thief Simulator. Author, Fangzone Womang. Chapter 501. He seemed to be feeling emotional and said sincerely, "Thank you for your hard work." "What do we mean?" "Lang Jun, you go deep into the abyss alone and find a way to let the abyss creatures leave. It is really hard and dangerous." Yang Kao shook his head and said. In response, Suliang was speechless. Although he did go to the abyss, he stayed with the Queen of the Abyss for 3 days. It's really hard to say that it's dangerous, not at all. It's hard to say that it's hard. Apart from bearing the humiliation and bearing the heavy burden, there is really nothing. But my ladies actually fought for 3 days. Liang, what exactly did you encounter over there? Tan Kinja asked curiously. Let's talk about this when we get home. Suliang smiled awkwardly. What happened around the Queen of the Abyss cannot be said, absolutely cannot be said. Just let me bear this alone. You are all tired. After you go back, take a good rest. Suliang hugged his girlfriend and said with a smile, when I get back, I will make you some delicious food to help you recover. Hear this. The eyes of the girls were shining with light. The food made by my own man is the best. Then a group of people walked home. Suliang, I have consumed too much and need to recover, so tonight, please be more conscious. Qin Benjao hugged Suliang's arm and said with a smile, ahem, let me come too. Yaoer is always not enough by herself. Tan Kinja coughed lightly. Senior brother Su, brother Suliang, I need it too. Mu Qingqian and Tao Yao Yao said in unison. There's no rush here as a teacher. Wan Qing chuckled, but Suliang understood what she meant. Once you're here, don't leave. In that case, I'll be fine before Sister Wanking. Yang Kaoj is not polite at all. Listening to what his girlfriends said, Suliang almost wanted to run away. I need a holiday too, okay. Volume 1 Chapter 460 Sweet to the Heart. The Queen of the Abyss retreated, and all the creatures in the abyss retreated. For this world, a huge disaster has been temporarily eliminated. And the foreign channel that was opened has returned to stability. At least. Under the control of the Queen of the Abyss, in a short period of time, there was no longer any concern that abyssal creatures would emerge again. For a while, the situation seemed to have de-escalated. Suliang and others can also rest temporarily. Begin at the Holy Land. The Holy Lord of the Abyss family went berserk, and immediately after, the passage to the foreign land was opened. For Suliang and others, the occurrence of such intensive events also made them feel a little tired. The place where Suliang and others stayed temporarily. Early in the morning, Suliang walked out of his master's room and sighed. Last night, there was a real flash of swords and shadows. Even though he had a Hunyuan Chunyang Taoist body and was overwhelmed with all kinds of powerful physiques, he almost had to walk out holding onto his waist. This is enough proof of what happened last night. And just then, Suliang, are you awake? Qin Benjao waved to Suliang, happily saying, come and have breakfast. After practicing with her husband last night, Qin Benjao has completely recovered and no longer feels tired. Good. Suliang nodded and sat aside. While eating and looking at the Holy Master beside him, Suliang subconsciously asked, do you have any other plans later? If not, Suliang said he wanted to take a rest. Last night, my ladies still had time to rest, but Suliang didn't rest at all. I really can't stand it anymore. And heard this. Qin Benjao and others also shook their heads obediently, no. See this. Suliang breathed a sigh of relief, finally able to take a rest. Can be followed immediately. He heard 11 Hang say, I want to go out for a while, will you come with me? This. Suliang hesitated for a moment, but looking at 11 Hang's expectant and attached eyes, he really couldn't think of any idea of rejection. Okay, I'll accompany you. After breakfast, 11 He Ying walks in the streets of the holy mountain city. In his arms, he was holding Suliang's arms. Even letting the arm sink in, he tightened his arm instead. In the successive battles, the Holy Land has suffered heavy losses at this time. Looking at the slightly quiet scenes on both sides of the street, 11 Hang sighed. Whether it was the Abyss family, her rampage, or the opening of a foreign passage, the ones who suffered the most were the powerful men in the Holy Land and the countless cultivators in the Holy Mountain City. Even though the situation has eased now, it will still take some time to return to normal prosperity. And this time, the two of them passed by a shop where Tan Kinja bought the high-quality fabrics before. 11 Hang immediately stopped and looked at the shop with twinkling eyes. Want to go in and have a look? Suliang glanced at 11 Hang curiously. Immediately, before 11 Hang could say anything, Suliang raised his feet and led him in. Since you want to go, then go and have a look. After guarding the city for thousands of years, 11 He Ying has always been a puppet. In normal times, he probably doesn't have time to wander around in the city. Even if he came, how could he have a desire for something with the indifferent emotions of that doll? It's just a quick glance. For 11 Hang, wandering around like this is probably a very novel and nostalgic experience. As soon as I walked into the store, I was immediately greeted by the store owner. Tan Kinja spent a lot of money that day and bought all the fabrics at 10 times the price. For this store, it was a big business that would not happen for several years. Naturally, Suliang, who was with Tan Kinja, was also remembered by the store. When customers come to our store again, it really makes our store shine. The shopkeeper said with a flattering smile, "Is there anything you want, sir?" "Just looking around." Suliang smiled and asked 11 Hang, "Is there anything you want?" 11 Hang thought for a while, but suddenly asked, "I heard from Wan Qing that you made a dress for each of them." Suliang was stunned for a moment, and seemed to understand 11 Hang's thoughts. He smiled and nodded, "Yes, I have indeed done it. If you want it, how about I make one for you?" "Okay, I'm looking forward to it." 11 Hang nodded and showed a happy smile. Immediately, Suliang then greeted the shopkeeper, "Bring your best fabrics. I want some." "Wait a moment, it's the same one you bought last time. There are new ones, go and get them now." The store owner immediately became excited. As expected, the young man who followed him before was indeed generous. Immediately, after thinking about it, the shopkeeper brought another item and introduced it. "Guest, take a look at this. Is it possible that it might catch your eye? This item is silk stockings, sold by only Tiandao sect in the world. The sales volume is excellent and it is deeply favored. This one in particular is made of ice silk. It is extremely tough and impervious to water and fire. It can be considered a good defensive garment. Are you trying to sell me stockings?" Suliang laughed dumbly and patted the store owner on the shoulder. "The person who came to me last time was my sister, the leader of Tiandao section. Do you think I need to buy this? Especially, I designed this thing myself. If I want it, do I still need to buy it? Hear this." The store owner was completely stunned. I didn't expect that the young man in front of me had such a great background. My villain wants to clear his name, but he awakens CAO Thief Simulator. Author, Fangzone Womeng. Chapter 502. Immediately, it became even more enthusiastic. Although Tiandao sect is not considered a top sect, both the senior officials and the disciples are not weak in their cultivation with the continuous supply of resources. Especially this kind of financial resources is really terrifying. You must make friends with such people. After walking out of the store, Suliang and 11 Hang looked at each other and couldn't help laughing. Selling silk stockings to the people of Tiandaozong, especially Sul Yang, it's really thanks to the store that they can make them. Last time, my sister seemed to have paid with money from the sect, but he actually forgot. Sul Yang said with a smile, making 11 Hang smile even happier. And just then, next to the two of them, an old man buying candied haws passed by. Sul Yang was stunned, then brought 11 Hang forward, bought a bunch of candied haws, and stuffed it into her hand. Here, the candied haws here tastes very good, much better than the ones outside. Sul Yang had a gentle smile and soft eyes. 11 Hang nodded, picked up the candied haws and took a bite. Indeed, it is sour, sweet, and delicious. This sugar-coated sweetness entered my heart and made 11 Hang's smile become more sincere. Now, it's great to have him next to me. Immediately afterwards, she then heard Sul Yang say, "Where else do you want to go? Let me see." Volume 1 Chapter 461 The Holy Lord's Game Experience. 11 Hang thought for a while. I remember that there seems to be a quiet place inside the holy mountain. Shall we go there? Just going to that quiet place with him is enough. Okay. Sul Yang smiled and nodded. But suddenly he bent down and held Princess 11 Hang in his arms. "You are still weak, I will take you away," Sul Yang said seriously. Immediately, Yu Jian flew towards that place. Night. Everyone in Sul Yang gathered in one room. Even the shadow of the past is here. Wan Qing put her hands on her hips and introduced what was in front of everyone. "This is my improved version of Fukang Qian. I have changed some of the punishment rules and simplified them a bit. Compared to the original version, it's much simpler. Can the immortal version of Monopoly be improved? What does my master do on a daily basis?" Sul Yang glanced at the game in front of him curiously and immediately became speechless. "Is this your original ordinary version of Monopoly? This is completely different. Compared to Monopoly, this thing is actually closer to Ludo. There are two dices, each drawn on the paper in front of you, representing the path. On them are written the conditions for punishment and reward. Especially." Wan Qing introduced the rules. "The rules this time are very simple. We just need to roll the dice, and the number we get is the number of steps we have to take. When you hear a cell, if it is blank, nothing will happen. But if there are rewards or punishments, you should follow the above. The one who reaches the finish line first will win." Sure enough, this is flying chess, right? How did my master change the immortal version of Monopoly into this thing? The difference is too big, right? Sul Yang expressed that he didn't understand and didn't know what to say. The most important. The punishment content above is simply more speechless than the last one. Compared with the previous version, it is much crueler. If the only people present were Sul Yang and his ladies, there would be no problem in playing. But 11 Hang is still here. The content here is not suitable for her to participate at all, right? What did your master think? Available immediately. Wan Qing looked at 11 Hang and asked, "Will the Holy Spirit come to participate?" Glancing at the chessboard, 11 Hang blushed and looked at Sul Yang with her beautiful eyes. "Okay. You have to participate in such a punishment? Okay, I really don't understand what you are thinking." Sul Yang was speechless. Immediately, Wan Qing took out her chess pieces and placed them on the chessboard. At this time, everyone present participated. Fortunately, the chessboard was big enough, otherwise, it would not be able to accommodate so many chess pieces. "I'm the first." Qin Benjao happily picked up the dice and threw it out first. "Let me see, why is it only 2 o'clock?" Qin Benjao pouted, a little unhappy. But fortunately, there is no punishment in the second grid. But this makes Qin Benjao even more disappointed. "Second, come the Holy Lord." Wan Qing handed the dice to 11 Hang. With Qin Benjao's demonstration, 11 Hang also understood the rules. Jade held the dice in his hand and shook it, then threw it lightly. Everyone looked at the number, 10 o'clock. Then, look at where 10 o'clock is. Let someone of the opposite sex present help you, put on, stockings. Chin Benjeo read the above content softly, her voice paused. The first one turned out to be something like this. This is too coincidental, right? All the girls looked at 11 Hang at the same time, with expressions of worry and surprise. 11 Hang, as the Holy Lord, would definitely not agree to this kind of punishment, right? Suliang Du said, otherwise, Master should change the punishment above. This is indeed a bit embarrassing for 11 Hang. However, unexpectedly, 11 Hang had no intention of refusing. Instead, she blushed and hesitated, but I don't have stockings, what should I do? I have some here, with various lengths and styles. Tan Kinja said hesitantly. As the head of the Tiandeo sect, it is quite normal for her to bring her own hot-selling products. However, I didn't expect that it would come in handy here. And the Holy Lord actually agreed? It's really magical. In that case, please. 11 Hang said to Tan Kinja seriously. Soon. Tan Kinja brought various styles and placed them next to 11 Hang for her to choose. Looking at Suliang, 11 Hang picked up one piece and said, "Is this the one?" Everyone looked. But I discovered that it was a gradient color from white to black, and it was also pantyhose. The color is secondary, but are these pantyhose really serious? She wanted Suliang to help. Holy Master, are you sure? Tan Kinja asked hesitantly. Well, this is it. 11 Hang said, and then sat down in front of Suliang and handed the black and white gradient to Suliang's hand. Come on, let's get started. While talking, 11 Hang lifted her plump legs and placed them in front of Suliang. Good. Suliang was a little hesitant, but seeing 11 Hang agreeing, Suliang had no reason to refuse. Squat down and come to your senses. Suliang held the small and delicate jade feet and slowly put on the stockings in his hands. Immediately, came behind 11 Hiying again. Grasp the top position and slowly move upward. As if there was no obstacle at all, her plump and beautiful legs as white as jade were covered by stockings. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My villain wants to clear his name, but he awakens CAO Thief Simulator. Author, Fangzone Wo Meng. Chapter 503. But then comes the hardest part. Suliang carefully walked up bit by bit. After a long time, he finally reached the end. But no matter how careful he was, along the way, he would inevitably come into contact with the Ruoningzi's deceiving Shuang Saixiu. That soft, silky state is really unforgettable. All right. Suliang breathed a sigh of relief and came to 11 Hang. However, he saw that 11 Hang's pretty face was blushing at the same moment, and his eyes were filled with microwaves. Let's go ahead. 11 Hang said, and tightened her plump legs wrapped in stockings. She can be shy too. In the following rounds, 11 Hang was very lucky and received no punishment. But it was nearing the end. 11 Hang picked up the dice and threw it, looking at the place where the result was. 11 Hang's pretty face turned even scarier. Everyone looked at the content above and became speechless. Let the opposite sex on the field help you take off the stockings. First I helped put it on, and now I take it off again. This is really a bit. It's hard to describe in one word. And for such punishment. 11 Hang stood up, came to Suliang, and said softly, "Come on. Say it." He actually took the initiative, picked up Suliang's hand and placed it on his waist. In desperation, Suliang could only take action. There was nothing I could do, others had already started to take the initiative, and the longer I delayed, the more something went wrong. Grab it with both hands, apply slight force, and push it all the way down. Nothing stands in the way. Those plump legs, as white as jade, were revealed again. After handing the things to 11 Hang's hands, Suliang breathed a sigh of relief. The game ends quickly. Suliang looked at the more terrifying punishments on the chessboard, took a deep breath, and suggested, "Why don't we play something else? God knows what 11 Hang will draw if he continues." Suliang's suggestion was unanimously praised by the girls. Holy Mountain. In the city. Suliang was walking on the street. On the left was Qin Binjao holding his arm, and on the right was Ying Keoj who was also holding his arm. "Is it almost there?" Suliang asked. Come on, it's not far ahead." Qin Binjao said with a smile, not feeling nervous at all. Ying Keoj on the side looked at the scene and just smiled but did not speak. Even Suliang didn't feel nervous at all. Talk about it? The three of them together actually planned to ask for payment. In the city of this holy mountain, there is a shop that owes Tiandao sect several times for payment, but now it has no intention of paying it back. Originally, Tan Kinja planned to come in person. After all, the existences in the holy mountain were stronger in cultivation, and their backgrounds were different from those outside. If you don't reach the transcendent realm, others may not be able to give you face. But Qin Binjao insisted on coming out. After all, this was an opportunity to be alone with her boyfriend, which is very precious, okay. With Qin Binjao's current strength, she has no problem dealing with ordinary transcendent realms. Moreover, Suliang was with him. After thinking about it carefully, Tan Kinja agreed. As for Ying Keoj, when Qin Binjao went to find her man, Ying Keoj was there. What could she do? Was she really not allowed to come together? It's just a pity that the opportunity to be alone with my boyfriend is rare. Soon, the three of them arrived at the door of the shop. Different from the previous store where Suliang bought fabrics, this one is a ready-made clothing store. Naturally, the demand is larger, and the amount of money owed is huge. Otherwise, Tan Kinja would not have thought of coming here to ask for it. Let's go in and have a look. Suliang said to his girlfriend, then took Qin Binjao and Tan Kinja into the store. What do guests need? Immediately, someone came to greet them and began to sell them. Look at this, these are stockings produced by Tiandao section. They are made of very rare materials. There are not many in total, and they are very popular. If you want it, how about I make it cheaper for you? Say it. Then I quoted a figure, which was actually much more expensive than other places. This made Suliang and others a little confused. To be honest, if you sell something like this, will anyone really buy it? It's really strange. Immediately, Suliang shook his head. We are from Tiandao sect, and we are here to collect the payment you owe. Call your master. Hear this. The man's expression changed and he quickly retreated. Soon, two middle-aged people, a man and a woman, came over. Welcome the proud sons of Tiandao section. May I ask what you need? While talking, this pair of middle-aged people released their auras to the extent that they were both transcendent. However, she was just out of the realm. Suliang and the three of them had killed countless people in total. How could they still be afraid of her? Then, Suliang went straight to the point. I heard from my sister that you have been in arrears with our payment for a long time, so I came here to ask for it. What happened? How could we default on your payment? The shopkeeper's expression remained unchanged, and he still had that kind smile. But the momentum of his whole body was pressing towards Suliang and the others without any reservation. Obviously, he had found out the cultivation levels of Suliang and the others, and wanted to use his strength to force Suliang to give up directly. But the next moment, Sul Yang, on the other hand, was calm and collected. I don't want to break the things you have here, lest you have to pay compensation, and I advise you not to make a mistake. Say it. Boom. Sul Yang and the three of them all released their momentum. This moment, the majestic momentum crushed away, completely overshadowing the momentum of the shop owner and his wife. However, they are just immortals. How could they be so much stronger than me? They could suppress me with their momentum. The Holy Lord swallowed subconsciously and sweat dropped. Just the immortality realm has such power. He has seen too many geniuses, and he knows it clearly. Even the top among them will never reach this level. And none of these people can fight across realms, or even crush them. Then, the shop owner immediately regained his composure and said with a dry smile, "It was just a joke, why are you serious? Besides, if we fight here, won't we cause trouble to the Holy Lord?" Holy Lord? The Holy Lord is still living in my house. Sul Yang didn't say anything more, just shook his head and said, "Please pay off the debt as soon as possible. We have other things to deal with. Little brother, can't you be accommodating for a few days?" The shop owner pretended to be embarrassed. "It's not that I don't want to pay it back, it's just that the two of us fought against the abyss creatures before and were seriously injured and exhausted all our wealth, so we barely managed to save our lives. We really can't afford the extra spiritual stones it's coming. Young prodigies who are just starting out are most inexperienced. Such a sincere and touching story will surely move them and make them take the initiative to eliminate their debts." The shop owner said he is already very proficient in this principle. But how could Sul Yang be such a hot-blooded talent just starting out? Have you seen him during the previous battle in the demon-suppressing dragon vein? Sul Yang pointed at the shop owner and asked about his girlfriend. No. Qin Benjao recognized it and shook her head. Even Yang Kao shook his head, "I haven't seen it either." "You." The shopkeeper hesitated. "Who do you think informed you of the news?" Sul Yang spread his hands. He didn't want to tell the matter, but the situation forced him. You. The shopkeeper's voice trembled, he remembered. He naturally went to the previous battle with the abyssal creatures, but he was timid and went late. He didn't arrive until the battle was over. But that's why. Only then did he see a young man walking out of the passage and leaving surrounded by a group of stunning ladies. My villain wants to clear his name, but he awakens CAO Thief Simulator. Author, Fangzone Womeng. Chapter 504. And among that group of stunning beauties, in addition to the recently famous Taoist masters Wan Qing and Jing Meng, there is also the Holy Master. The Holy Lord who protects the Holy Land. Volume 1 # Chapter 462 Mukinkian's Assist, the Demon King. Take a closer look, isn't the young man in front of you the same one you saw that day? Good guy, I actually provoked such a powerful person? Fortunately, I didn't take action just now. Otherwise, I'm afraid that everyone would be dead by now, right? The shopkeeper wiped the sweat from his forehead and said immediately, "Little brother, wait a moment, I owe you the Tiandao sect and I will repay it immediately. From now on, we can never be careless about Tiandao sect. The background of Tiandao sect is really terrifying. After getting what belongs to you." Sul Yang and the other three left the shop directly. Immediately. In the distance, Qin Benjao's voice could be heard, "Sulang, I want to eat this, buy it for me." "You are a little rich woman, and you still want me to buy it?" "I want it, the one Sulang bought is delicious." "Okay, buy. Mr. Lang, I want to eat too. Buy them all. Lang Jun is the best." Obviously. What just happened was just a small episode in the date. The most important thing is, of course, being able to go out with your man. In the mansion, Sul Yang was lying on the deck chair, basking in the sun, watching Qin Benjao and Yang Kaoj sparring next to him. The two of them stopped occasionally and chuckled at Suliang before continuing. For a moment, the atmosphere felt a little warm. And at this moment, Brother Suliang. A familiar voice sounded, and Suliang subconsciously opened his arms. Really? A soft and delicate body fell into my arms, and the fragrance filled my nostrils. Immediately. Rubbing her little head on Suliang's chest, Tao Yao Yao smiled happily. Brother Suliang doesn't have time to accompany me these days. Humph, finally I found a chance, right? You are talking about the time when Qing Qian is not around, right? Suliang smiled and shook his head. Speaking of companionship, in fact, during these days of free time, Suliang went on dates with everyone in his family alone. As for Tao Yao Yao and Mu Qing Qian, Suliang wanted to be alone with her, but every time he went to find Tao Yao Yao, Mu Qing Qian would always be there. And when he goes to find Mu Qing Qian, Tao Yao Yao will definitely be there. What can Suliang do? Can he still drive away one of them? So, we can only do it together. Anyway, that violent woman is not here. I want to go out to play. Brother Suliang, you have to accompany me. Tao Yao Yao pouted, charming and cute. Okay, let's go out and play. Suliang smiled and nodded, then stood up and planned to take Tao Yao Yao out to play. But until the two left, they didn't notice. In a room, there was a beautiful figure standing in front of the window looking at this scene. There was full of envy in his eyes. It was the Holy Son who came to find Mu Qing Qian. What's wrong? Mu Qing Qian asked curiously. She followed the saint's eyes and looked at the envy in his eyes. There was a flash of surprise in his eyes. Could it be that the Holy Son also treats his own husband? Very possible. Otherwise, the Holy Son is polite to everyone. Why is he so cold to my man alone? It's like deliberately making trouble? Not as good as. He laughed, and Mu Qing Qian already had an idea in his mind. Humph, Suliang has fallen so low and is in company with the devil all day long. What does this mean? The Holy Son snorted softly, hiding the envy in his eyes. At lunchtime, Suliang sat in Mu Qingqian's room, waiting for Mu Qing Qian to come back. Just now, when he came back with Tao Yao Yao, Mu Qing Qian brought him over and said that he wanted to let him have a taste of his craftsmanship. To this, of course, Suliang was very happy. Even if what Mu Qing Qian cooked was terrible, Suliang would definitely eat it all. After all, it's my girlfriend's wish. However, he sat and waited, but he couldn't wait until Mu Qing Qian arrived, so he felt a little confused. That's when. Qing Qian, what exactly do you want me to do when you call me here? A familiar voice from Suliang sounded. He turned around and saw the Holy Son walking in from the door. Why you? Shenzi and Suliang said in unison. Immediately, the Holy Son turned around decisively. If I had known you were here, I wouldn't have come. See this. Suliang was very helpless. I said, I didn't provoke you, right? Why do you always treat me like this? Snort. The Holy Son just snorted lightly, said nothing more, and started to leave. But at this moment, now that you're here, don't leave. Mu Qing Qian happened to come in from outside the door, holding a full plate in his hand. Immediately, pretending to be panicked, Mu Qing Qian pushed the Holy Son directly. Get out of the way. Get out of the way. Ah! The Holy Son screamed and was caught off guard. He lost his balance and fell backward. Careful. Suliang was startled and subconsciously took a step forward, hugged the Holy Son and supported her. Call. Suliang breathed a sigh of relief. Are you okay? You, let go. The Holy Son stared at Suliang, his pretty face flushed, his eyes evasive, but he still pretended to be cold, shameless. Hey, I managed to hold you up, okay? As for doing this to me, Suliang was even more helpless. So what was going on with this holy son, and why was he always targeting him? Oh, okay, now that you're here, let's try my craftsmanship together. Mu Qing greeted the two of them with a slight smile and asked the holy son to sit down, but specially arranged a seat for her very close to Suliang. It was said to be extremely close, but it was almost touching. Mu Qingqian actually sat next to the holy son, and instead, together with Suliang, blocked the holy son in the middle. This arrangement made Suliang a little confused. But Mu Qingqian didn't think anything was wrong, and didn't even explain. She just ate by herself and fed Suliang. Not to mention, my girlfriend made it and it tasted pretty good. At least Suliang was satisfied. And just when the banquet was halfway through, Mu Qingqian suddenly picked up a pair of chopsticks and was about to put it into the holy son's bowl. Here, eat more. This is my first time doing this. I just invited you to. But just when it was about to reach the end, Mu Qingqian shook his hand, and the chopsticks of delicious food fell down. But underneath, it happens to be the clothes of the holy son. Ah! The holy son screamed again and subconsciously hid behind, but squeezed directly into Suliang's arms. Moment. The holy son's pretty face turned red, extremely embarrassed. Mu Qingqian, did you do this on purpose? To this. Mu Qingqian just shook his head and said, how is this possible? But even so, in fact, she did it on purpose. Seeing that the holy son was envious, he seemed to have some thoughts about his senior brother Su. As a friend, I naturally have to provide some assistance. Isn't this a matter of course? My villain wants to clear his name, but he awakens CAO Thief Simulator. Author, Fangzone Wo Meng. Chapter 505. Now it seems that the effect is not bad. For several days, the Holy Land was calm and peaceful. But on this day, Volume 1 # Chapter 463 Unparalleled Demon, Disastrous Defeat. Boom. Waves of roaring and loud noises appeared from the sky, and in an instant, the sky around the Holy Land turned dark. Vaguely, a white-haired figure appeared in the sky, overlooking the people in the Holy Land. Next moment, boom. That beautiful figure suddenly exploded with aura, and the aura that was the pinnacle of the world actually made everyone below breathless. Those with weaker cultivation levels even fainted on the spot. Who is that person? Tao Yao Yao asked in surprise. She could clearly feel the aura of the devil from that beautiful figure. Ji Hongqian, the demonic emperor. 11 Hang said lightly, looking at the beautiful figure in the sky with her beautiful eyes. Demonic emperor, why is she here? Suliang was a little confused, but he had a vague feeling that maybe something big was going to happen. And immediately, 11 Hang flew up to the sky and asked calmly, Ji Hongqian, why don't you stay in your devil's way, why are you here with me? Where is the shadow of the past? Ji Hongqian's voice sounded, I heard that you have been weak for a long time, and only 23% of your cultivation is left. So what? 11 Hang was undaunted, if you want to know, then try it yourself. I think so too. Ji Hongqian's demonic power was overwhelming, and his voice was cold and domineering, if you are really weak, then I will swallow up your entire righteous path. As soon as these words came out, everyone was in an uproar. The demonic emperor actually wants to annex the righteous way? As soon as these words came out, everyone below was in an uproar. In fact, compared to the demon lord of the original demon sect, Zunhuang Ji Hongqian's name is not that resounding. Just like the Holy Lord 11 Hang has been in the Holy Land, others only know that there is a peerless and beautiful female monarch in the Holy Land, but they don't know that the female monarch's name is 11 Hang, and she is extremely beautiful. As the actual controller of the original demon sect, he is the strongest person in the demonic way. At least, the ordinary disciples of both the righteous and demonic parties, and even the geniuses in various sects, were unaware of the existence of the emperor. But among them, they do not include those Taoist masters, demon masters, and masters of the two sects who have been in power for many years. It's just because you've reached this level that you can access these secrets. Therefore, at this moment, several different voices suddenly broke out in the righteous path. Countless holy mountains, people in the city all showed disdain. With the Holy Lord here, you still talk about annexing the righteous way? What a loud tone! Even the demon lord of the demonic way is no match for the Holy Lord, let alone others. The various geniuses looked up at the sky without saying a word. As a genius, he still has the required IQ. Even though they don't know what kind of person Ji Hongchen is, the demonic emperor Zunhuang, since he can be called Zunhuang, it naturally shows how powerful this person is. A place like the demonic path is the most realistic. Without strength, don't even think about having any status. And the Holy Lord's skills are related to nature and his cultivation is profound. A person who can be taken seriously by the Holy Lord is definitely not an easy character to get along with. And those Tao masters, the strong ones, all looked up at the sky with solemn expressions. It turned out to be the demonic emperor appearing in person. This battle is a bit troublesome. If the Holy Lord really loses, the consequences will be unimaginable. Among the people present, except for the Holy Master, there were few who could block Ji Hongchen's moves. The two of them are already strong men on another level. As for helping to fight together, of course someone has considered it. But their cultivation level is simply not able to participate in that level of battle. If they are not careful, they will be killed directly. I can't help even if I want to. And the other side. After hearing what Ji Hongchen said, Suliang held up his forehead. Just a few days after the abyssal creatures retreated, the demonic path struck again. This time I came to the Holy Land, I really couldn't live in peace for a few days. And who spread the news about 11 Hang's weakness? Logically speaking, not many people should know about this kind of disappearance. Frowning, Suliang thought seriously. At the same time, above the sky, the atmosphere between 11 Hang and Ji Hongchen had become increasingly serious. It seems that the slightest disturbance can cause a war to break out between the two. Want to annex the right path? 11 Hang's voice was cold and indifferent. Ji Hongchen, I haven't seen you for many years, how come you have learned to tell jokes? Besides, it's the worst joke I've ever heard. It's useless to talk more. It's a shadow of the past. You'd better look forward to it. You are not weak. Ji Hongchen looked cold and full of fighting spirit, otherwise, I will accept this right path today. If you think you can do it, you can try it. 11 Hang stood with his hands behind his back, enigmatic and unpretentious, and his powerful momentum made the world change color. This feeling seems to be no different from her usual feelings. But as the Demon King, who has been hostile to 11 Hang for many years, how could Ji Hongchen not understand 11 Hang? Moment. From 11 Hang's seemingly majestic momentum, she found a weakness that was different from usual. Sure enough, you are no longer at your peak fighting strength. Ji Hongchen suddenly laughed out loud, it seems that today is the day for me to annex the right path. He is a shadow of the past, stop talking nonsense and let's fight. Say it. Ji Hongchen took action boldly and slashed out at 11 Hang from a distance. Let's fight, I'm afraid you won't succeed. 11 Hang was unafraid, even though he had not recovered from the previous injuries, he still attacked with all his strength. For a while, he was actually able to fight to a draw with Ji Hongchen, regardless of the outcome. And the strength shown by the two people at this moment has already made all the powerful Tao masters turn pale. This is the peak combat power that surpasses everyone in the field, and it is not something they can match. As expected of the Holy Lord, he is indeed unparalleled in strength. He is just a demon, but he still dares to provoke me and seek death. Someone looked at the scene and shouted excitedly. Even though it was difficult to get up due to the pressure of the battle in the sky, they still couldn't hide the excitement in their eyes. Obviously, these people have great confidence in 11 Hang and feel that 11 Hang will definitely be able to kill Ji Hongchen. Even the geniuses and Taoist masters breathed a sigh of relief and looked more relaxed. Even though the Demon King is tyrannical, the Holy Lord of the Righteous Way, are not easy to control. Once a fight breaks out, even if the outcome is only 50-50 or a draw, it can be considered a righteous victory. After all, as the party that provoked the dispute, if Ji Hongchen could not win the right way, it would be equivalent to wasting all his previous efforts, which would be a huge loss. However, Su Liang below looked at this scene, but he couldn't be happy at all. 11 Hang has been living at his place, and even in normal times, he is very attached to Su Liang and always sticks to Su Liang's side. Su Liang knows 11 He Ying very well. She has not recovered at all now. If the opponent were a being like Jing Meng, 11 Hang might still be able to defeat him, but the demonic emperor. This kind of opponent who was at the same level as her in her heyday was not something 11 Hang could deal with right now. Even if it seems evenly matched at this moment, attack with all your strength. But due to her injuries, she couldn't hold on for long. How can I do? Su Liang frowned and thought, but he didn't know anything. This kind of battle is no longer something that a being of his level can control. Even if Wan Qing and Jing Meng are involved. I'm afraid it's all a bit forced, right? Su Liang sighed and felt a little headache for a moment. But it was so easy that Su Liang had no time to think. Outside the holy mountain, he had already sensed the powerful aura coming from all over the sky. That is the strong man of magic. Yes. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My villain wants to clear his name, but he awakens CAO Thief Simulator. Author, Fangzone Wo Meng. Chapter 506. Since Ji Hongchen wanted to annex Zhendao, he naturally couldn't come alone. Even if Ji Hongchen is powerful, he will inevitably be in trouble if he is besieged by all the powerful Taoists of the righteous path. In this case, it seems normal to bring everyone from the demonic way. It's not just Su Liang. The Taoist masters, including Wan Qing and Jing Meng, all frowned. The devil has really worked hard for this event. Wan Qing sneered, it is not an easy task to bring so many strong men into the holy mountain without being discovered. Master is talking about normal times, but now, most of the powerful people of the righteous path gather in the Holy Land to participate in the election of the leader of the righteous path. How can anyone stop them? Su Liang shook his head and said. That's true. Wan Qing was stunned and nodded, but she had forgotten this. It's better to prepare as early as possible. Su Liang slowly pulled out Lei Zhang and frowned, this battle may be very troublesome. The demonic crowd arrived in an instant with a fierce momentum. In a blink. He has already arrived at the outskirts of the holy mountain. We can't let them enter the holy mountain, otherwise, the holy land will suffer too much loss. An elder from the holy land came forward and shouted. To this, no one had any doubts. As the most important place for the righteous path, if even the holy land is wantonly invaded by people from the demonic path, I'm afraid that in the future, Zhendao will lose all its face. This is absolutely unacceptable to both the holy land and the sects of the righteous path. Then, a group of righteous people directly greeted him, making sure to block the devil from the holy mountain. Before departure, Su Liang suddenly looked at Tao Yao Yao, otherwise, why don't you wait here for now? Tao Yao is from the Yin Yang Dao sect, and her master is Dong Huang. In terms of inheritance, she actually belongs to the demonic Dao. Even if she doesn't count her inheritance, she comes from a demonic family. The family is powerful and influential in the demonic world. Theoretically speaking, she belongs to the devil's path. If she hadn't followed Sul Yang, she might never have come to this place where the righteous paths gathered. No, I want to follow Brother Sul Yang. Tao Yao Yao pouted, a little aggrieved, and her beautiful eyes immediately filled with tears. Brother Sul Yang, do you doubt me and want to embarrass me? How is it possible? You know me well. It doesn't matter whether you are good or evil. What I like is just you. Sul Yang shook his head. Since I like you, then I have to trust you wholeheartedly. How could I doubt you? Humph, that's pretty much it. Tao Yao Yao snorted softly, but her tears turned into a smile. It's just that your reputation in the demon world is not small. If you are seen taking action, I'm afraid it will be detrimental to your master and your mother. Sul Yang persuaded. As the daughter of the demon sect family and the master disciple of the Yin Yang Dao sect, Tao Yao Yao naturally has her own reputation in the demon Dao. If she takes action, the chance of being recognized is extremely high. Judging from the behavior of people in the demonic way, when the time comes, both the Yin Yang Dao sect and the demonic sect family will probably get into some trouble. Not to mention, if there are people from the Yin Yang Dao sect and the demon sect family, will they fight or not? It's better to keep her here and save her trouble. I just want to follow Brother Sul Yang. Tao Yao Yao was not happy and took Sul Yang's hand directly. Brother Sul Yang, don't worry. Master and mother will be fine. Besides, the two of them may not send anyone here. Why? Sul Yang asked subconsciously, but then he shut his mouth. Really? Since her daughter is still on the right path, Tao Yao Yao's mother will naturally not send anyone here. Even if someone is sent here, they are here to protect his daughter. Then, Sul Yang could only nod reluctantly. Okay, if that's the case, then you stay with me and don't go too far, you know. I know, Brother Sul Yang is the best. Tao Yao Yao smiled happily. And just then, next to Sul Yang and others, the righteous man who heard their conversation turned and looked over with a murderous look on his face. Oh, it turns out that there is a demonic witch hiding among us. How about I use you to sacrifice the flag before the war? This is the same thing. Base. Sul Yang immediately drew his sword, and the sword light left a few scars on the proud man's face. Although we are both on the right path, if you want to die, I will help you. Anyway, in a battle of this scale, there is no shortage of you. Do you dare to attack your own wife and seek death? You. The genius froze and knew that he was no match for Sul Yang. If Sul Yang hadn't deliberately controlled the deflection of the sword light just now, I'm afraid he would be dead now. Then, the genius immediately turned around and said something to his master. Huh? There is a witch hiding in my right path. The Taoist master frowned and looked over. What's the purpose of harboring a demonic witch? Why, what kind of girlfriend does my disciple want? Do I still need your approval? Wan Qing immediately snorted, with inexplicable power in her voice, and pushed forward, causing the Taoist master to take 2 steps back. After fusing the power, Wan Qing's cultivation became even more powerful, and she was the one at the top even among these powerful Tao masters. The gap is so big that it is no longer comparable. You. The Taoist master looked a little ugly and wanted to say something. But Wan Qing didn't give her a chance. Even the Holy Lord recognizes this girl, but does he allow you to say anything more? After hearing this, the Taoist master's expression changed and he stopped talking. She knew Wan Qing and naturally knew that Wan Qing would never lie about this kind of thing. How dare you question someone recognized by the Holy Lord? If this word gets out, she will stop wandering in the righteous way. The strong man of righteousness flew all the way, and in just a blink of an eye, he arrived at the outskirts of the holy mountain. He collided with those surging demonic paths. This moment. Volume 1 #Chapter 464, a person destined for 3 generations was abducted by a bad woman. Not too many words. The peerless battle above the sky had already demonstrated the thoughts and purposes of both of them. Boom! With bursts of roaring and exploding sounds, and all kinds of powerful auras, a shocking battle begins. The Taoist masters and powerful men of each sect have all found people of the same level as each other to restrain them and prevent them from taking action against those geniuses. Su Liang and others, together with the geniuses, fought against the demonic geniuses. Even among them, Su Liang, Tan Qinjia, and Qin Binjiao, who were the most powerful in cultivation, found elders in the other sect. As for those demonic geniuses, just kidding, the most powerful prodigies in the demonic way have already been easily killed by Su Liang. How could other prodigies be Su Liang's opponents? Su Liang really couldn't be interested in this kind of battle, which was like beating up a child. And this time, several elders who transcended the peak of existence surrounded Su Liang. We are the elders of the original demon section. Is it you who killed the devil? Mako. Su Liang thought for a while and then remembered, maybe. Was that demon the one who came out to disrupt the situation when Ying Kaoj was transported into his body? Su Liang still remembered that Motzi finally forcibly took the luck that Su Liang had driven away into himself. Then, it was a pretty miserable death. Snort. The elder snorted softly, kill the demon son of my sect and pay with your life. Say it. They actually took action at the same time and bombarded Su Liang. To this, Su Liang was calm and collected. Lei Zhang took action, and with a flash of sword light, he killed all the elders under his sword. Baffling. Su Liang no longer cared about that, and with a sweep of sword light, he pulled all the demonic elders who attacked Tianjiao in front of him. These elders are all beyond the realm of cultivation, and those geniuses are no match for them. But right now, my villain wants to clear his name, but he awakens CAO Thief Simulator. Author, Fangzone Wo Meng. Chapter 507. Boom. Above the sky, a roaring sound appeared, and immediately after, a beautiful figure vomited blood and retreated. Su Liang looked up subconsciously, his face changing slightly. The person who retreated turned out to be a shadow of his former self. Chapter 709, Take Su Liang away. Ji Hongqian's request. The Holy Lord was slightly defeated. The expressions of all the righteous people below immediately changed. After all, for them, their current battle is just to hold back the demons and prevent them from causing trouble for the Holy Lord. As long as the Holy Lord is victorious and the demonic emperor is defeated, then these people coming from the demonic way will naturally not have anything to worry about. But if the Holy Lord loses, they may not be able to compete with the demon lord's methods and strength. Winning or losing the battle in heaven is almost equal to winning or losing this battle between good and evil. 11 Hang, you are indeed seriously injured. Oh, I will accept this right path. Ji Hongqian's voice sounded from the sky, and immediately after, she was seen pursuing the victory and attacking 11 Hang. And to this, 11 Hang could only resist. At this moment, 11 Hang's injuries have not fully recovered, which greatly affects his combat effectiveness. He is no match for Ji Hongqian. If this is the case, He Ying will definitely lose. Su Liang frowned and thought, no, we can't continue. We must not let anything happen to He Ying. That attached look and gentle smile appeared in his mind. Every time he thought of it, Su Liang couldn't help but feel soft. No matter what, Su Liang must not sit back and watch what happens to 11 Hang. Master, can you help in this kind of battle? Su Liang asked. With the Holy Lord here, no problem. Wan Qing nodded and immediately understood what Su Liang meant. Immediately. Then he said to Jing Meng, Meng, let's go, let's take action together with the Holy Lord. A battle related to the fate of the right path is not a one-on-one duel. A siege or something like that is normal. Jing Meng did not hesitate. After forcing his opponent back with one sword, Jing Meng and Wan Qing flew directly into the sky. The two of them took action together, their true energy emerged, and the sword energy filled the air. They stopped Ji Hongchen and gave 11 Hang a chance to breathe. They're just two bigger ants. Do you think, together with you, 11 He Ying is enough to compete with me? Ji Hongchen sneered and slashed out with his sword. The bright sword energy seemed to connect the world with the world. Even Sul Yang, who was far away from him, felt a stinging pain from the shocking sword energy. Wan Qing and Jing Meng were naturally no match for such sword intent, so they both retreated and dodged again and again. But, with the two joining in, the three of them joined forces to besiege Ji Hongchen, and for a while, there was a stalemate. Even after that, many Taoist masters and powerful men who had freed up their hands went together to besiege Ji Hongchen. In this way, the situation has stabilized, and the outcome is still uncertain. But this kind of balance is very dangerous. Compared with Ji Hongchen, those Tao masters and strong men are too weak in cultivation. If you are not careful, you will get hurt on Ji Hongchen's hands. And then, this balance may be broken. But, for the time being, there is no better way. The battle outside the holy mountain continues. After all, the demonic way is fully prepared, there are many people coming, and there are strong people from all realms. As the righteous Dao hurriedly responded to the challenge, there was a huge gap between the Taoist masters and the Tian Xiao, which was difficult to make up even if they relied on Sul Yang and others. Gradually, the righteous path is gradually declining, fighting and retreating. Under the constant pull, it is getting closer and closer to the Holy Land. Just then, boom! Jing Meng forcibly took Ji Hongchen's sword, vomited blood, and immediately fell from the sky. Even while in mid-air, due to the blockage of true energy, it was impossible to fly with the sword at all. See this. Sul Yang immediately abandoned his opponent and faced him. Falling at such a speed, even if Jing Meng has a strong cultivation level and a strong physique, he will definitely be seriously injured. Fortunately, just when Jing Meng was about to fall to the ground, Sul Yang arrived and took Jing Meng into his hands. However, but he was shocked to feel that in front of Jing Meng, there was still a sword energy from Ji Hongchen. It was this sword energy that suppressed Jing Meng, making it impossible for her to resist. If this sword energy is not resolved, even Sul Yang will be seriously injured. One sword without regrets. With no other choice, Sul Yang Leizang gathered his strength for a moment and then slashed out. The sword's unrepentant sword intention flashed away with a bright sword light, and finally wiped out Ji Hongchen's sword intention. This moment. Well, you still have the energy to destroy my sword energy. Ji Hongchen was stunned for a moment. This unexpected change made her subconsciously look at the place where Jing Meng fell. But he saw Sul Yang catching Jing Meng at a glance. It's actually you. Ji Hongchen's delicate body froze, as if she recognized Sul Yang. Like the shadow of the past, Ji Hongchen has also existed for a long time. And in these long years, Ji Hongchen has been waiting for his destined person for the third life. And these so-called destined people for 3 generations are actually Sul Yang. But nothing. Ji Hongchen was rejected by Sul Yang in his previous lives one after another, and was even severely injured because of it. Ji Hongchen was quite impressed by Sul Yang. So much so that she recognized Sul Yang in this life immediately. It's really you. Ji Hongchen gritted his silver teeth and his eyes gradually darkened. You have rejected me for 3 lives. In this life, I will conquer you and then reject you ruthlessly. Then. Stop it. Ji Hongchen immediately stopped fighting and looked at 11 Hang and others. You can retreat if you want me to, but I have a condition. What? Follow me. Ji Hongchen pointed her jade finger at Sul Yang. See this. Ji Hongchen, Wan Qing, and even Jing Meng refused directly, no way. However, the other powerful Dao masters were a little puzzled. Holy Master, a young man, why don't we just let him leave with the demon Dao? Perhaps, that young man will get an opportunity. For them, the retreat of the demonic path is the most important thing. As for Sul Yang, I'm really not familiar with this, so just take it away. Shut up. 11 Hang's expression turned cold for a rare moment. If there is no him, what's the point of me protecting this world? Hiss. Everyone gasped. Was the Holy Lord threatening? Without this young man, she would no longer even be able to hold the position of Holy Lord? This won't work. Without the Holy Lord, who will resist the demonic emperor and protect us? Wan Qing also looked at the person who spoke with cold eyes. I will remember you. When I have free time, I will definitely come to ask for advice. The person who spoke had a bitter look on his face. He just said something, so why did the Holy Lord and Wan Qing care about him? At this moment, Sul Yang suddenly spoke. Why me? Ji Hongchen looked cold. Because I'm happy. It's really wanton and reckless. I can only say that he is worthy of being the Demon King. Sul Yang shook his head and smiled. What you said counts. Nature counts. Okay, I'll go with you. Sul Yang nodded and agreed. If this battle continues, the outcome is hard to say, and my ladies may even be in danger. So, he followed the demonic emperor not to save some righteous path, but because he did not want to put his wife in danger. For this reason, Sul Yang felt that there was no harm in sacrificing himself. No, you absolutely can't go with her. My villain wants to clear his name, but he awakens CAO Thief Simulator. Author, Fangzone Wo Meng. Chapter 508. Wan Qing's expression immediately became anxious. If Sul Yang refuses to obey, Wan Qing is confident that even if she dies in battle, she will never let Ji Hongchen hurt her master. But this time, it was master himself who agreed. Even if Wan Qing wanted to intervene and take Sul Yang away by force, I'm afraid Sul Yang would have countless ways to prevent her from getting what she wanted. She knew Sul Yang too well. I'm afraid no one could convince him of his decision. Jing Meng, who was next to Wan Qing, didn't say a single unnecessary word, but directly drew out his sword and faced Ji Hongchen. This attitude is already very clear. Even if it was a fight to the death, she would never be allowed to take Sul Yang away. Even the shadow of the past cannot calm down at this moment. Wan Qing, Jing Meng, you two, take him away. 11 Hang's voice was calm, as if he had made up his mind. Don't worry, I will stop Ji Hongchen and buy you time. Even if it costs me my own life, I won't hesitate. Oh, do you think you can stop me? Ji Hongchen sneered. Today, I will put my words here. I will make a decision on this person. No one of you can stop me. Even if I search the whole world, I will definitely find him. Hear this. 11 He Ying, Wan Qing, and others all looked ugly. For a strong person like Ji Hongchen to say such words in front of a group of righteous and demonic people, it obviously represents her attitude. This is not achieving the goal. I will never give up. If so, it is really difficult for them alone to stop Ji Hongchen. Even if it can be resisted for a while, it will not last long. What should I do? Master, He Ying, there is no need to do this anymore. Sul Yang shook his head and chuckled. I'll just go with her. How can this be done? Wan Qing looked determined. Wan Qing was equally determined. To know. The man in front of me is the demonic emperor. Once she takes him away, he doesn't know what kind of torture he will go through. Even if they bring Sul Yang back in the future, they may cause Sul Yang to suffer irreparable harm. It's just a demonic path. It's not like I've never been there before, so why should I be afraid? Sul Yang laughed loudly and asked, when will we set off? That's it now. An imperceptible smile appeared at the corner of Ji Hongchen's mouth. Immediately, with a wave of his sleeves, Suliang flew away with him. He was as fast as lightning and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Stop! 11 He Ying, Wan Qing, and Jing Meng immediately became anxious, and their bodies were like lightning, and they also chased after them. However, no matter whether it was the weak 11 Hang or Wan Qing and Jing Meng whose cultivation was far inferior to Ji Hongchen, how could they possibly catch up with Ji Hongchen? He could only watch Ji Hongchen's figure disappear quickly. Here, what should I do? Wan Qing was a little confused. Suliang was actually taken to the devil's path, which made her very worried. In the end, did he still fail to protect his master? Hold on. 11 Hang murmured to himself, when my body recovers, I will bring you back. Ji Hongchen, if you dare to hurt him, I will fight to the death with you. With 11 He Ying's gentle character, being able to say such words is enough to prove that Ji Hongchen really annoyed her. And at the same time, even Qin Benjiao and others who were fighting below seemed to feel something. They looked up in the direction where Suliang disappeared, looking panicked and worried. Lang Jun. Something happened to Lang Jun. This sudden change made several people almost unwilling to fight. Fortunately, because of Ji Hongchen's disappearance, everyone in the Demon Dao had no idea of fighting. At this moment, everyone stopped. After all, even Ji Hongchen, who is the strongest person in the demonic way, is gone. If they continue to fight, do you really think 11 Hang can't kill them? 11 Hang may be weak, but killing them is still effortless. No one wants to fight this kind of fatal battle. Therefore, the Demon Dao people quickly retreated as if they had arrived without any hesitation. Only the righteous people were left, confused and confused. For a moment, they didn't know whether they were winning or losing. As for the pursuit, no one will pursue at this time. Ji Hongchen just got what he wanted, so he left, not that he lost. Once they go too far in pursuit, who can guarantee that Ji Hongchen won't come back? Volume 1 Chapter 465 Overlord Ji Hongchen. The original demon sect. Boom. Ji Hongchen threw Suliang to the ground and landed next to Suliang. Ahem. Suliang coughed twice and felt that the fall just now was really painful, as if he had suffered internal injuries. She did it on purpose, right? Otherwise, how could you be injured if you fell down from a height above one person? You are hurt. Ji Hongchen glanced at Suliang indifferently and said, it doesn't matter. There are also treasures of heaven and earth in the sect's treasure house that can heal your injuries. Hear this. Suliang was simply stunned. You injured me first, and then you gave me heavenly materials and earthly treasures to heal me? What does it mean? Do you want to extend my life even at the expense of heaven and earth treasures, and then torture me repeatedly? Good guy, how much hatred do we have? Ji Hongchen's mysterious operation really puzzled Suliang. But actually, Ji Hongchen thought very simply. Conquer Suliang, and then reject him ruthlessly. To this end, she has a whole set of taming plans. Young man, surrender to my royal throne. Ji Hongchen looked at Suliang coldly, very confident. What do you want to do to me? Just tell me. Suliang adjusted his breathing a little and felt a little more comfortable, then said, as for those natural and earthly treasures, I don't need them, and you don't need to waste them anymore. Shut up. Ji Hongchen was in domineering mode, cold and domineering. You will eat if I tell you to. Where do you come from so many words? Young man, don't challenge my patience. I just said a word and it challenged your patience. What's the point? Suliang was speechless and held his forehead, feeling as if he couldn't see through the world's greatest witch in front of him. And immediately, with a wave of his hand, he called the two people from the original demon sect and arranged a place for Suliang to stay and asked them to take him there. Ji Hongchen actually went to the sect's treasure house alone. You're just a young man, I'll personally select the treasures for you and refine them for you. See if you are moved. It's so easy to conquer you. The other side. After arriving at the place where I live temporarily, Suliang looked around and after confirming that there was no surveillance, he breathed a sigh of relief. But his expression became strange. To be honest, Suliang is still a little confused until now. Inexplicably, he was attracted by Ji Hongchen and brought here. After bringing him here, not only did he not do anything to him, but he even arranged a place for him to live, and also gave him natural resources and treasures to heal his wounds. What is this? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My villain wants to clear his name, but he awakens CAO Thief Simulator. Author, Fangzone Wo Meng. Chapter 509. For a while, Suliang couldn't figure out what Ji Hongchen was going to do when he brought him back. What on earth was she thinking? It was clear that in this confrontation between good and evil, the devil had the upper hand, but she just gave up for herself. After bringing myself here, I did nothing? How strange. Suliang waited in the room for a while. Squeak. The door to the room was opened, and Ji Hongchen walked in with one jade hand behind his back and a bowl in the other. It was only then that Suliang had time to see Ji Hongchen's appearance clearly. Her face is stunningly charming, but her expression always carries a domineering and sinister look. She quite agrees with her identity as a witch. Different from his girlfriend's silver hair, Ji Hongchen's white hair hangs down behind her. Between her proud peaks and her slender waist, she has plump but slender legs. With such an exquisite figure, even when compared with that of his master, he is not far behind. But around Ji Hongchen's waist, there was a red rope, which shone with ancient aura. It looked very extraordinary, but he didn't know what it did. Since you're injured, just lie down. Ji Hongchen glanced at Suliang, his voice a little cold. It's just a minor injury. Even if you don't care, I'll be able to recover in a while. I don't have to worry about it, right? Suliang said nonchalantly. He was already sure that this was Ji Hongchen's intention, so that she could use it as an excuse. Only, Suliang really couldn't understand what Ji Hongchen wanted to do. Where did all this nonsense come from? Ji Hongchen waved his sleeves. Suliang's eyes only felt blurry, and then he rose into the air and landed on the bed. Immediately, Ji Hongchen strode forward, walked over, and sat aside. Picking up a spoonful in the bowl, Ji Hongchen blew it and put it to Suliang's mouth. Open your mouth. I want to do it myself. Suliang honestly said. I said, open your mouth. Ji Hongchen, however, spoke directly and coldly, with an unquestionable domineering tone in his words. Hear this. Suliang had no choice but to open his mouth and let Ji Hongchen feed him. But God knows how awkward Suliang is. The majestic demonic emperor actually feeds him a righteous disciple? If you say this, no one will believe it. Especially, this demonic emperor still looks like a domineering boss, which is really a bit strange. After a while, Ji Hongchen put the empty bowl aside, put his jade hand on Suliang's arm, and transferred his true energy into it, sensing it for a moment. Immediately. Then he opened his eyes and nodded. It seems that he is recovering well. That way, I feel relieved. Even Suliang himself felt his changes at this moment. Not to mention the injuries Ji Hongchen deliberately caused to him. In the past, Suliang had fought in successive battles. Although his cultivation had been improving, there were still many hidden dangers in his body. If it is not dealt with, it may break out in the future and cause big problems. But this time, Ji Hongchen actually eliminated all these hidden dangers directly for him. But this made Suliang even more confused. Why? Why does she treat herself like this? I obviously don't know her. Suliang was puzzled at first by 11 Hang's special treatment of him, but then he gradually understood. But Ji Hongchen and Suliang didn't have the slightest clue. As if subconsciously, Ji Hongchen tucked Suliang's quilt. You have a good rest. If anything happens, just call me at any time. However, if you dare to move around before your injuries are fully recovered, I will never let you go leniently. Amid the toughness, there is also a sense of concern. Suliang felt even more strange. The boss which? Then what do you think you are? But his life was in someone else's hands, so Suliang obviously didn't intend to say anything more. After successive battles, even Suliang felt a little tired. Then he closed his eyes and fell into a deep sleep. Afternoon. Suliang woke up and got up from the bed, feeling refreshed. After taking those natural treasures and taking a good rest, all the hidden dangers in Suliang's body were eliminated, and his cultivation foundation was also solidified, which can be said to have been a great benefit. He stood up and looked aside subconsciously. Suliang saw a brand new suit of clothes there. There seemed to be Ji Hongchen's aura on it. Is this what Ji Hongchen prepared for himself? The majestic demon Dao Emperor is able to notice such small details, which is so meticulous that it makes people feel very weird. That is the demonic emperor, the strongest in the cruel and ruthless demonic way. There is such a side. Suliang put on his clothes, walked out of the room, took a deep breath, and planned to think about his next plan. All in all, no matter how Ji Hongchen treats him, he is a righteous person after all. His wives are also there, and they are basically hostile to Ji Hongchen. Even though Ji Hongchen was very kind to him now, in the end life and death were still in the hands of others, and something might go wrong one day. So, I still have to find a way to leave. But this is the original demon sect, the most powerful sect in the demonic way. Not to mention that there are many masters here, and they are still deep in the devil's path. How easy is it to leave here and return to the right path? And just then, are you the righteous boy who killed the devil? An angry shout rang out, and when Suliang looked over subconsciously, a powerful man who transcended the realm suddenly fell in front of him, with a sullen face and an angry look on his face. And behind this person, a dozen strong men with similar or even superior cultivations gathered together, all staring at Suliang with unkind expressions. Moreover, Mozi's younger brother was also killed by you in the Yin-Yang Dao sect. Someone asked again. It's me. Suliang nodded. Although he was facing the opponent's master in his own territory, he was not afraid at all. Among the people in front of him, only 2 or 3 made Suliang feel a little troubled. As for the rest, he was no match for Suliang. If Suliang got serious, he might not be able to withstand even one sword strike. It's really you. The faces of these people all darkened. You killed the devils of my original demon sect, and yet you dare to come to my demon sect's territory openly. How brave you are. You think I'm willing to come, because I wasn't kidnapped by your emperor. Suliang didn't say anything, just spread his hands. So, what exactly do you want to say? Now that you're here, don't plan to go back alive. Someone drank softly and wanted to take action towards Suliang. See this. Suliang's eyes flashed, and although there was no weapon in his hand, he still pointed his sword. In an instant, the soaring sword intent is concentrated in Suliang's hand, and the sword energy is unparalleled. With Suliang's current swordsmanship level, as long as it is not a holy object of Reizo's level, there is not much difference between having a sword and not having a sword. Even though there is no sword in his hand, he can turn everything into a sword and still be able to kill his opponents. But just when the two sides are about to take action, boom! A powerful and majestic momentum suddenly descended from the sky, oppressing the people of the original demon sect. Puff! Everyone in the original demon sect vomited blood and fell back, their faces instantly turned pale. It was obvious that they had been severely injured. Next moment, Ji Hongchen descended from the sky and looked at these people with a cold expression. When will you be able to touch the people I brought back? Chapter 712, Survival from Desperate Situation, Qin Wanyu in the original demon sect. We don't dare. All the masters of the original demon sect panicked. As members of the original stone demon sect, how could they not know that the real controller of their sect is the emperor in front of them? My villain wants to clear his name, but he awakens CAO Thief Simulator. Author, Fangzone Womeng. Chapter 510. Even if you give them some courage, they won't dare to act arrogantly in front of Ji Hongchen. However, some people still refuse to give up. Qi Zunhuang, this boy acted so boldly that he killed the demon son of our sect, which is almost equivalent to cutting off the future of our sect. A prodigy with such amazing talent and beauty as Mozi is only seen once in 1,000 years. It is really difficult, almost impossible, to find a suitable person to pass on to him. We really can't forget this kind of hatred. Since you can't forget it, then go die. Ji Hongchen's voice was cold. If you die, you can forget everything. Hear this. The man who spoke just now was horrified and said, "Please forgive me, Your Majesty, I know I was wrong." Roll. Ji Hongchen just uttered one word coldly. Boom. A powerful wave appeared and hit these people, instantly knocking them all away. Seeing that the people who wanted to kill him just now were all driven away by Ji Hongchen, Suliang was stunned for a moment, feeling extremely confused. Is it okay to save my enemies and beat up my teammates? So, what exactly was Ji Hongchen thinking? And this time, Ji Hongchen suddenly turned his head. How do you want to punish them? How about, forget it? Suliang tentatively said that it was not that he was merciful to his enemies, but that he was actually in the enemy's territory. If he really followed Ji Hongchen's words, who would he punish? This is a bit ignorant. Who can tell clearly whether Ji Hongchen is testing himself? Let go? Impossible. Ji Hongchen shook his head and seemed to mutter to himself, they want to hurt you, how can I let them go? Good guy, what kind of bossy statement is this? Suliang was simply shocked. Before, he had discovered that the demonic emperor seemed to have a tendency to be domineering. It's just that it wasn't so obvious before, so I couldn't be sure. But now, this is too obvious. Looking at Ji Hongchen like this, is this considered flirting? But, it's a bit clumsy. And what was she thinking? It was obviously just the first time she met her, so why did she just start flirting with her like a boss? I can't figure it out, I really can't figure it out. You go back and rest, I still have things to deal with. Ji Hongchen said calmly to Suliang, turned around and left. From a distance, Suliang could still hear a sentence, if I want to hurt you, it's better to send him directly to the border of Zhendao for guarding. Is this really going to kill them? Suliang was stunned for a moment, but then he frowned. Of course he wouldn't think that Ji Hongchen was obsessed with him just after meeting him once or twice and couldn't extricate himself. After all, he is the most powerful person in the magic way. He has been alive for countless years. How could he be like those little girls? That being the case, what is the purpose of Ji Hongchen's behavior? After thinking for a moment, Suliang didn't get the result, so he could only go back to the room temporarily. However, but he didn't notice that in the darkness, a beautiful figure flashed past. Is this considered the scope of the original demon sect? Suliang looked at the bustling city around him and asked curiously. It was different from his impression of the cruelty and ruthlessness of people in the Devil's Path. Although this city is within the scope of the demonic path, the people living in it are all ordinary beings. There is no difference compared to those in the righteous path. Even. Volume 1 # Chapter 466. Is this what the demonic emperor eats? Because of the decisive management of demon Deo killing, order is actually better. It's really kind of magical. Of course it is a city under the control of my original demon section. Ji Hongchen nodded, but kept looking at Suliang. Is there anything you want? Hear this. Suliang shook his head. My ladies are very attentive, and basically buy a lot of things for themselves every time they go shopping. Suliang really lacked nothing. However, Ji Hongchen was not satisfied with this answer. I saw Suliang taking another look at a shop selling heavenly materials and earthly treasures. Ji Hongchen led Suliang directly in and waved his hand. Pack up all the things you have here and send them to the original demon section. Tell them, this is Ji Hongchen's thing. If they dare to give you less, you can come to me with this thing. Say it. Ji Hongchen waved his hand and threw something like a wooden sign on the counter. You, the original stone demon sect, must have a lot of this kind of stuff, so why would you buy it here? Suliang asked a little confused. Bought for you. Ji Hongchen said very naturally, since you like it, I will buy them all for you. I just took one more look, and you sold it directly to other stores? Where does this boss come from? Suliang felt a little confused. If this continued, wouldn't he dare not look at anything? If he didn't control his sight, Ji Hongchen might have emptied the entire city for him, right? So, what does this woman want to do? Suliang held his forehead and sighed, feeling an unprecedented headache. After a long time. After shopping, Suliang returned to the room Ji Hongchen had prepared for him, feeling numb. I saw. In this rather spacious courtyard. Treasures from heaven and earth, various types of weapons, martial arts and techniques. Even some snacks, food, clothes. All kinds, accumulated from more than a dozen stores, are all here. And these. It was the result of Suliang not controlling his eyes. Ji Hongchen actually bought them all for him. I'm sure, this must be the boss witch's flirtation. But this kind of action is really a bit clumsy. With a sigh, Suliang stepped forward, intending to sort the things here into categories first. And just then. Ah! With a scream, a figure came in from outside the yard, but happened to guess a porcelain jar containing heavenly materials and earthly treasures, and fell to the ground. Husband, why did you buy so many things? Immediately afterwards. The beautiful figure asked in surprise. Wan Yu. Suliang looked at this familiar figure. It was his wife, Qin Wan Yu. Weren't you recalled by Dong Huang? Why are you here? Suliang asked in surprise. Hey, I'm here to help my husband. Qin Wan Yu smiled happily. Help me? Help me with what? Suliang asked confused. Of course, conquer the emperor. Qin Wan Yu said matter-of-factly. Under the arrangement of Dong Huang, she broke into the Demon Dao headquarters in advance, where she was responsible for supporting Suliang and helping Suliang conquer Ji Hongchen. To this, Suliang continued to be confused and couldn't come to his senses at all. Yin-Yang Taoism. Dong Huang picked up the chess piece and placed it next to the key piece. If it were just that one crucial move, maybe the situation would turn around, but after all, it would be too difficult and there would be a risk of failure. And after adding this chess piece,